Welcome to another informative video by Boundless Financial Solutions in East Berlin, Connecticut. We're the holistic solution to the challenge of making your financial future brighter and more secure. Call Boundless Financial Solutions for answers to all your questions about your finances. Today's video, Donor-Advised Funds. A donor-advised fund offers an easy way for a donor to make significant charitable gifts over a long period of time. A donor-advised fund is similar to a private foundation, but requires less money, time, legal assistance, and administration to establish and maintain. A donor-advised fund also enjoys greater tax advantages than a private foundation. What is a donor-advised fund? Technically, a donor-advised fund is an agreement between a donor and a host organization, or the fund, that gives the donor the right to advise the fund on how the donor's contributions will be invested and how grants to charities or grantees will be made. Contributions may be tax deductible in the year they are paid to the fund, subject to the usual limitations, if they are structured so they aren't considered earmarked for a particular grantee. Though they can bear the donor's name, donor-advised funds are not operated as separate entities like private foundations are, but are merely accounts held by the fund. The fund owns the contributions and has ultimate control over grants. The Community Foundation was the first type of host organization to offer donor-advised funds, but today, many financial institutions offer them, and many public charities have funds or will create a fund upon request. First, the donor establishes the account. Then he or she makes required minimum contributions of assets, which may include cash, marketable securities, and other types of assets, depending on the fund. The donor, or the donor's designee, can make ongoing non-binding recommendations to the fund as to how much, when, and to which charities grants from the fund should be made. The donor can also offer advice regarding how contributions should be invested. Finally, the donor may suggest that, upon death, grants be made to charities named in his or her will or other legal instruments such as a revocable living trust. We should note that the fund is not obligated to follow any of the donor's suggestions, hence the name, Donor-Advised Fund. As a practical matter, though, the fund will generally follow a donor's wishes. The fund generally informs grantees that donations came from the donor's fund, but they can be made anonymously also at the donor's request. Both private foundations and donor-advised funds allow a person to take tax deductions now and decide later to whom to give. Both donor-advised funds and private foundations can be named to honor the donor, a family member, or other person. But private foundations offer the donor exclusive control and direction over grants and investments, an attractive feature to some philanthropists. However, various legal restrictions imposed on private foundations are not imposed on donor-advised funds, and the federal income tax treatment of a donation to a private foundation is less favorable than that afforded to a donor-advised fund. Furthermore, private foundations are required to distribute a minimum of 5% of their assets each year. Donor-advised funds have no such minimum distribution requirement. Also, donor-advised funds do not need to fulfill many of the reporting and filing requirements that are imposed on private foundations. Finally, administrative costs borne by the donor are generally lower than those incurred by the private foundation. Endowed funds distribute only income, not principal. These funds invest a donor's assets in perpetuity for potential growth over time. Because they are permanent, endowed funds provide a lasting memory of the donor's philanthropic nature. Non-endowed funds permit a donor to make ongoing recommendations for grants up to the entire fund balance, principal and income. Such funds remain non-endowed unless the donor specifies otherwise until such time as the donor or the donor's designees are no longer providing advice to the fund. A donor can generally take an immediate income tax deduction for contributions of money or property to, or for the use of, a donor-advised fund if the donor itemizes deductions on his or her federal income tax return. The amount of the deduction depends on several factors, including the amount of the contribution, the type of property donated, and the donor's adjustable gross income. Furthermore, donor-advised funds are not subject to the excise taxes levied against private foundations. There are no federal gift tax consequences because of the charitable gift tax deduction, and federal estate tax liability is minimized with every contribution, since donated funds are removed from the donor's taxable estate. For whom do donor-advised funds work best? Who would be best served by setting up such an account? Well, high net worth individuals, individuals who have no children or ultimate beneficiaries, individuals who do not want to leave too much money to their children, individuals who do not want to be actively involved in the ongoing operations of their charitable plan, and individuals with highly appreciated assets. Everything has advantages and disadvantages. Donor-advised funds are no exceptions. The mix of features and benefits in donor-advised funds make them a great fit for some people, but not for others. First, here are the disadvantages of donor-advised funds. First, contributions are irrevocable. Next, a lack of control over investments and grants. Investment options may be limited, and grants may be limited geographically to a particular state or community, or by the fund's charitable mission. Also, assets that pass to charity do not pass to heirs, and the duration of a donor's philanthropy may be limited. Now for some of the advantages of donor-advised funds. There are lower contribution minimums. They're easier and less costly to set up and maintain than private foundations or supporting organizations. The donor has some involvement in grant making, and donors can obtain expert advice on grant making. Donors may receive immediate income tax deductions. They can reduce or eliminate capital gains, gift, and estate taxes. There's no excise tax or payout requirements. Accounts can be personalized, or donors can give anonymously, and accounts may be transferable to the next generation. That was a brief overview of donor-advised funds. To learn more, contact Boundless Financial Solutions at the number shown on the screen. And thank you for watching. If our videos prove to be useful to you or provide you with helpful information, please consider giving them a like. Please consider also subscribing to our channel. Every like and every subscription helps us with YouTube's algorithm. Finally, if you click on the notification bell, YouTube will let you know when we place new content on the web. And thanks so much for listening.